Welcome to Garage Talk, the official place where the garage guys just talk about shit and do stuff.
Get in there.
Yeah. Look, today we got Copizzle with us, our own garage guys racing, LockDown racing, truck series driver in the Road to Pro series. Martinsville is coming up on Thursday. Richmond. Okay. So we're going straight to Richmond.
Hey, he's not in the Cup Series yet. Okay. Chill out, Chase.
No, I got you. I would love to watch trucks at Martinsville, though. That would be fun. I would too. That would be very fun. So we're going to Richmond. Let's go ahead and just dive into kind of let everybody know who you are. Obviously, we got into iRacing a little bit last year. We started dabbling around some, and we did a little bit of work with Joey Stone. And then we ended up linking up with Anthony Alfredo. And when we had Anthony on our show, he hit me up probably about a week after and was like, hey, we're going to be doing a lot of iRacing stuff. There's this new Road to Pro series coming out with the trucks. And we got this guy that we would love to like represent garage guys in this series for LockDown Racing. And so I'm like, okay, well, who is this guy? What does he do? Does he kind of know how we are and like how our content is and what we do? And he's like, oh, it's going to be perfect. And then we meet you. And I was like, Anthony knocked it out of the park. He did, because like your swag, everything about you, the New York Giants stuff, just the racing, just your energy is right there matched with what we love here in the virtual garage. So I'm going to kind of turn over to you a little bit now, and I just want you to kind of tell everybody who you are. But first and foremost, you're a huge gambler. And you're a big gambler.
Some people would say that's a problem, but I think it's their problem that they think it's my problem. You know what I mean?
Now, if that's a problem, we all got issues, man. Yeah. So let's just start it out. Just how did you get involved in the iRacing deal, and what's your background and where you come from, man? What universe you coming from?
So I just was like any other, young man that was out here. I was playing video games at a young age kind of deal. And I was lucky enough around 2007, I got into the EA Sports NASCAR games. Okay. And so just being a NASCAR fan as a kid, naturally I'm buying all the sports games that I was into at the time, like, the Maddens of the world and NBA games and NASCAR. And so, I was playing a lot of NASCAR, and then they gave you the ability to play online, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Like you could race against other people online. And I was really more so doing the console games, the PlayStations, the Xbox or whatever. And so I was lucky enough that in 2007, 2008, I was able to win the EA Sports NASCAR Challenge, which is the NASCAR version of the Madden Challenge. And so anyways, like I was able to go out and have this great success and win this national title. And it was really awesome. And then literally about a year and a half later, EA Sports stops their NASCAR games. They quit making them. And I was completely bummed out because I felt like I'd kind of found my little niche. And I was like, hey, I may not be, I was always pretty good at the Madden games, but I may never win a Madden challenge, but I can try to win a bunch of these NASCAR challenges and do all this great stuff. And so when they kind of bounced out, I said, man, I want to keep racing online and I want to keep doing something. So what are my options? And I found iRacing, and I joined iRacing in 2010, and it was still somewhat, in its early developments. It'd been there, years prior. And so what's funny was during that time period, going back to 08, 09, there was guys who were PC racers. They would kind of give crap to console racers. So if you played the console games, you stink. And if you play the PC game, you're like legit. So I was like, you know what? I'll take my console skills. Yeah, it's just nerd stuff. So I'll take my console skills and I'll go try to beat them in PC. So I'll do the iRacing. So I go and I join iRacing, and sure enough, it's a completely different world. Obviously, the EA Sports stuff was it only took you so far as realism goes, and iRacing is just like another level up. And so I started playing iRacing and getting involved, and it was really cool to be able to race against real NASCAR drivers. I'll never forget, like, the first time I was in a race with Dale Earnhardt Jr. on iRacing, just geeking out. Didn't say nothing to him, but I was just like nervous to race around him. I was scared to death I was going to do something wrong and people would be mad that I knocked him out and stuff like that. And so you see all these real life guys on there, and it's really cool to compete against them and watch them race. And so as the years went on, I eventually joined a team called LockDown Racing, and we've evolved over the years, but man, it's some of the best group of guys that I've ever really been around in my whole entire life. And it's, you think, I'm sure a lot of people outside of that watch the iRacing stuff, that, like, for example, the Pro Invitational that they just did, for example, like, some people may watch that and say, well, the guys that do that on a regular basis, they're nerds, they're geeks or whatever, and this and that. But truthfully, like, I know LockDown Racing, us, if we all lived in the same town, same city, we would be racing at some local short track together. Like, we would be working on it. Like, we're just racers who just come from different parts of the country. And it just so happens this is our form of being able to get together and compete and try to win on the racetrack. And so we've got a few guys that's in the Coke series, which is it's like the Cup series for iRacing. And we've got some guys who are in the Road to Pro series, which that's what I'm currently in. And so we're just a group of guys that just try to compete. And we've got a deal currently, thanks to Anthony Alfredo. We're kind of got a connection with Front Row Motorsports, and Anthony kind of joined our Discord. We became friends with him, and he's kind of like us. It's crazy because I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be friends with a Cup Series driver. Right, growing up, I remember going to a football game. I went to a Tennessee Vanderbilt football game, and I got to sit beside Sterling Marlin during the game. And I was like, wow, that's the closest I'll ever be to a real life NASCAR driver, And so I've been lucky enough to make friends with Anthony, and he got us a deal with Front Row, and we've got a lot of their partners and a lot of their sponsorships, like Dude Wipes, for example, have came on board with us.
Wipes.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And we have a connection with them. And I think the coolest thing happened to us a couple weeks ago when we had the Pro Invitational, where the NASCAR guys were racing on Fox on iRacing. And so Michael McDowell comes into our Discord. Austin Dillon, who's friends with Anthony Alfredo, he comes into our Discord. And next thing you know, you got 2 Daytona 500 winners who, they can drive, but they're trying to figure out iRacing, and they're trying to learn from us. And so I was lucky enough that I helped out Michael during his race, and we were doing really good with him, had him up to 4th in the feature, and he's hollering at me and I'm hollering at him. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I've come so far from console gaming to now I'm trying to help a Daytona 500 winner, run good on dirt here.
Crew chiefing for Mike Mack, man.
Yeah, like it's amazing. And him and I, we were just competing. Like we were just 2 guys, and I had another friend of mine named Logan Sheets, who's a great crew chief on our team. And I was spotting Michael, and we were just trying to get him. We're sitting there. I'm sitting there spotting somebody on national television, trying to help him out. And so Daytona 500 winner. But man, we got a lot of great things going on at LockDown Racing, and I'm just so fortunate to be a part of that group. It's Zach Novak, Jimmy Mullis, Michael Finason, Logan Sheets, Will Cooley, my buddy Dalton Milan, Briar LaPrade. I can't even. There's so many of us. I can't even think of.
Yeah, it's our people now too. So now man, that we're involved.
What's so funny is they're also really into the DraftKings, the fantasy stuff.
I found that out.
What's funny is every week now we're like, hey, what's the garage guys? What do they think this week? Like, so we're handicapping ourselves, and we're over there talking about it. Then we're like, let's see what the garage guys. We'll watch one of their videos and see what they're thinking. And so yeah, man, it's been great, and I've really appreciate you guys supporting us and being a part of our little team. And so it's a lot to take in, but iRacing is it's a great thing. It kind of blends in between video game and simulation, you know, and being an actual sim. And obviously the video game part of it is it's virtual, and if you crash, you don't get hurt. But the simulation, you know, the sim part about it is, you know, you're actually trying to make these cars go fast, and you're actually competing against guys all over around the world, and you're trying to win races. And so, you know, me and my buddies, you know, we go to races together. We go to Bristol, we went to Miami, and I think we're trying to get something to go in Talladega in a few weeks. And so, you know, we have fun together. We hang out, and it's just a great environment to be a part of.
Yeah, the community is it's an amazing thing. Like the online community, like just the people that are like in our Discord server, you know, the garage fans, what we're calling them, and you're a part of that too. Like I've really like come to realize like how tight knit that can be, and like you can make so many friendships out of that. So I know it's the same way, and I'm sure Drew's itching to get to a little bit of gambling talk over here, because I know that I'm ready to. But I do want to say this. I was over at Dale Tanhart's house the other day, and I tried iRacing for the first time. And I will say this, that shit is not easy.
No, it's not.
I'm a big NASCAR Heat guy, and I know everybody hates on NASCAR Heat, but I love playing NASCAR Heat. I'm like an arcade gamer, you know, it's just how I roll. And I get on there and I'm like, oh man, I can run all these tracks on NASCAR Heat. This is going to be a breeze. I get on there, you know, I got the clutch working, I'm shifting. I'm like, oh, this is nothing. And then the next thing I know, I'm going to get out of a turn in Charlotte, one of the easiest tracks there is. And just go spinning and just can't even get my shit right. So it's no walk in the park.
What's funny is I'm a big sports guy. So I have a lot of sports friends, you know, and I live in Nashville. And so I always have conversations with guys where we'll talk on, you know, you're into NASCAR, like, you know, kind of deal. And they're like, oh, what do you want? They just do, you know, they do left turns. They just go in circles. They're not athletes. And I say, okay, I tell you what, I got a sim rig at the house. Come on back. Let's come on back with me. And so I'll bring them to the house, and I'll say, okay, we'll do Talladega and Daytona, because a monkey can drive around this place. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So they'll go around it, and they're like, oh yeah, this is real easy. Then I'll say, okay, let's go to Bristol. You know, let's go to Charlotte. Let's go to Martinsville. Let's go to Darlington. And then they can't even go through turn one.
Right.
And so it's like, I'm like, okay, well now you get it. Like, and then when they finally do get it and they're going around, even though it's slow lap times, I'm like, imagine 30 other cats out here with you now.
Do you ever start placing wagers against your friends? Like, hey, if you can make 20 laps without hitting the wall. You know.
I don't listen. I know for a fact I would take their money. So I hate taking my money from my friends. And I know for a fact they would. I mean, iRacing is not easy at all. I mean, the Road to Pro series that I'm currently in right now, we've got 1,300 people pretty much every other Thursday signing up to compete in these races. And they're only taking the top 70. And I've had this conversation with Chase, because, you know, you guys have been so fortunate enough to support me and my little journey in it. And I want to run so well for you guys and get you guys I've been lucky enough that I've had, in some of the races I've done, I've had guys say, what's this garage guys thing? Like, cool, you got a cool paint scheme, you know, and I'll tell them, I'm like, hey, yeah, go to their website. You know, they got
we loud, baby.
Yeah. So it's like, go check them out. And so it's so crazy, because I think, you know, to the person who doesn't understand, they'll be like, well, this is just video games. This is how hard, you know, why are you only running 13th right now? You know, like, it should be easy, but it's not. Like, there's so many setups, and, you know, we've got guys who are really good at building setups. We've got guys who have their own little, you know, specialties. And so you've got to, if you don't have a guy on your team that knows how to build setups, you're screwed on iRacing. You really are. I mean, you've got to know what you're doing. And so that's a big part in it as well. It's like, you got to have guys who can build setups and know what they're doing to make the cars go fast.
Hey, how do you, just out of curiosity, how do you get promoted? Like, what would you said there's 1,600 drivers right in your series. What do you need to do to get promoted? Like, how does it work for a guy that doesn't know a lot about iRacing? Is it like a minor league system? I mean, yeah,
it's very much like a minor league system. So Road to Pro series is, you're kind of in the truck series right now in real life. It's like the truck series. So they have 1,300 guys, and it gets up to about 1,600. And they put everybody in a certain split based on your I rating. That's a little bit difficult to kind of understand, but they split everybody up basically 35 trucks per race. Gotcha. And what you need to do is you need to run well in your split. Just run well in your split. You need to get a top 10, top 5. If you can win, great. Because the better you finish, on a higher split, the more points you get. And the idea is after 8 races, of course, we're already 2 races in. After 8 races, they're going to take the top 70 in the points. Okay. So they're going to eliminate 1,200, 1,300 people right out of the gate. And then when they get to the top 70, then there's only 2 splits, and they'll break it up 35 per race. And then at that point, there'll be another 6-week season, and you need to be in the top 20 after those races. And they'll restack the points, very much kind of like the playoff system in real life.
Gotcha.
And if you're able to finish in the top 20, then you go to the Pro Series, which what they do then is they take the bottom 20 of the Coke Series, and they punch them out of the Coke Series, and then they take the top 20 in the Pro Series and they mix them up, and then those 40 will fight for 20 spots to get into the Coke Series.
It's kind of like soccer.
It's very much the Coke Series part of it's very much like soccer. If you have not competed, if you've not done well enough, you will get knocked out.
Gotcha.
And so you have to, unlike real motorsports, obviously you can't buy your ride. You have to earn your right to get there. It's not easy whatsoever. We've been fortunate enough that we've made it to the Pro Series. We just haven't got to that Coke Series. Our team currently has 4 drivers in the Coke Series. So we're fortunate enough just to have those 4 guys.
Yeah, that's big.
That's big. Yeah. And Zach, the guy who I spot for, Zach Novak, he's been lucky enough to win the whole thing, where he won $40,000 just a couple years ago. And we were down in Miami, partying it up, $40,000 check, having a good time. And it's great to be, and that's the biggest great thing about our little LockDown racing family is we don't care who wins the whole thing. We just want one of us to win the whole thing and be the best of the best. You know, we try to support one another and get as many guys as we can to the Coke Series in hopes that one of us can achieve it, because it truly is a world championship, because there's so many people not only in this country, but around the world that are competing to try to get that crown. And, there's $100,000 prize at the end of it. And so if you're able to get there and win it, you're talking about 6 figures. And I know you guys being gambling guys and chasing DraftKings, look, $100,000 is, it's got a nice ring to it.
It's something,
you know
yeah.
It's
That's definitely something.
It's more than a quarter. That's for sure.
Hell yeah. So the next thing I guess we can go into, now that we've kind of got a rundown on that, if anybody obviously wants to learn more about all of this, you can hit us up, and you can hit up Copizzle online.
And Thursday, the Twitch, we're going to do a live stream of our race.
So we'll be on the Garage Guys Fantasy Sports Twitch on Thursday, and that's where you can find the races. You can watch Copizzle, and you can watch Zach Novak spotting for him as well. So we're going to start getting crafty with this, man. I know we got a little ways to go. I know we got to get in that top 70. Mm-hmm. We move up to where you change over to an Xfinity car. That's what we're shooting for. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna put all the good energy, and we're gonna focus on that. But a little bit more into your personal life. So I need to know, where did the nickname come from, and when did this start? Yeah.
So it kind of goes off my last name. I don't really like the Copizzle name now, but it's something I created when I was like 19, 20 years old.
Sticks, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually was
that your gamer tag?
Yeah, it's my gamer tag on. I've got a PS5, which it's my gamer
fancy,
tag.
Huh?
Oh yeah,
I wish I had a PS5.
Oh yeah, I was in the Walmart line one time getting it. But it's my gamer tag over there. It's my Twitter handle, and so I think I was somewhere 18, 19 years old, and we were hanging out with friends, just having a good time, shooting the breeze or whatever. And one of my friends just said Copizzle. And it kind of played off that little Snoop Dogg. A lot of my friends called me Cop when I was in high school. Nobody ever called
you a cop?
No, I'm not a cop. So,
sure?
No, I'm not. Okay. What's funny is, I don't know about you guys, but in high school where I went to, nobody called anybody by their first names. We were always calling each other by our last names or gave each other nicknames or whatever. And so mine just got shortened down to Cop. And then just one night hanging out, somebody just called me Copizzle, and I was like, Copizzle,
Were they fucked up? Were they just like?
I think it was a Snoop Dogg thing, and someone just said it, and I said, that sounds pretty good. I don't hate that. So then I made a YouTube channel, and just couldn't think of what to name it, so I named it Copizzle, and and I centered around New York Giants football. And it's just it's kind of a hobby. It's another one of my hobbies that I'm into, is just talking about the Giants. And so I saw a lot of people really enjoyed it, kind of liked the name, and I was like, you know what, I'll stick with it. I'll go with it and see where it goes and takes me. And so it's just a funny thing. I don't want to say it's me just trolling the world, but it's kind of ridiculous. And so it's kind of like, what, though. I'll just go with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, who cares? So
it's funny. The first thing I thought about was Snoop Dogg when Chase reached out to me. Yeah. I mean, we talk pretty much every day, and he reached out and was like, "Hey, I got this guy I think would be perfect fit." And the first thing I thought about was Snoop Dogg. So
it came. I think it came from a Snoop Dogg, because my friend was, we listened to rap growing up, and I want to say that Snoop had a really big song during that time, and so just one of my buddies just said Copizzle, and it just stuck with me. I don't know why.
And here we are.
And here we are. Yeah.
Nice. So every time I see him, be like, with so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being CO Pizzle. I don't know, make something up with it, shit. But no, it's good. I'm a big nickname guy. You can ask Drew. I overdo it at times, but like, it's just gotten to where now if I don't overdo it, it's not normal. So like, that's just kind of how we've rolled. But I found out too, like the gambling aspect of everything. So obviously, we've talked a little bit about, NASCAR and betting on the races, and, we, with Garage Guys, in our Discord, we're not just NASCAR, and you can see that we got like every sport in there, just a bunch of degenerates just throwing their money at shit 24/7. So you're big into the horses. Yeah. And that's something I never got big into. I've always wanted to go to a Kentucky Derby, and I would probably like lose everything that I ever owned if I did.
Not if you take his advice.
But yeah, exactly. So this is why this is a majestic fit right here, because now I'm going to be confident going to a Kentucky Derby, and you're coming with us. Okay. So, how did you like start? Like, when did you start gambling? Like, what was it that kind of like got you involved in it?
So, my father was a big gambler and still is today. We used to take every summer we'd go for a week down to Panama City Beach. Okay, we'd just take us a little redneck vacation down to PCB. Okay,
gotta love those, man.
Yeah. We didn't go to Destin. We went to Panama City Beach.
We probably could have a whole episode on this right here.
Yeah, we went to PCB, and so my dad took me to a greyhound track, a dog track. We actually went to Ebro Greyhound Park, which obviously Florida just recently banned greyhound racing, which I think is terrible. I don't think it's a good move. But
let them dogs run.
Yeah, let them. Well, they still run it in West Memphis, Arkansas. They're still running in Birmingham, and so we would go. I'm no kidding. We would go for a week to PCB, and I'm not. My dad and I, we would go for 6 nights of the 7. We'd go to Ebro Greyhound Park. I mean, I would sit on the beach as a young kid handicapping greyhound races. Okay, I mean, I didn't want anything to do with I'd get in the ocean for a minute. I'd do this and that, but then I just want to get right back to the.
That sounds like this guy. I've seen pictures of him on a beach vacation, setting fucking DFS lineups while all of his buddies out there just doing shit. This dude right here is the real. Like, I'm telling you,
I'm out there just handicapping the puppies, So I loved going to the dog. I mean, it was a fun thing to do, and I knew what a trifecta was before I even knew how to spell trifecta. Yeah. I mean, I would just get lost into it, and as a kid, it really wasn't even about the gambling part of it. It was just about, looking at the puzzle of a race and figuring out how that was going to play out. And
it's all about the process for you.
It's all about the process. And so a lot of ways, helping my dad try to find that process was fun for me. It's like, so if I was able to give him a winner, it made me feel good, kind of deal, You
were your dad's Rain Man.
Yeah, even if he didn't go with what I said and I got it right, I'd be like, yeah, I told you so.
That's the best.
That's the best. And so, I'm very fortunate that my dad wasn't afraid to take me somewhere like that, into a gambling environment. And so I'm very thankful for that, because it's really changed my life and impacted my life to the point to where now, as I got older and I've got into horse racing. And so here's the thing about that. I love gambling. Okay. I gamble on every sport that you can possibly think of. Okay. I mean, if I feel like I have an edge on it, I'll bet it. women's tennis, I'll bet it.
Up in the
WNBA,
late night, just betting.
I'll bet if I feel like I got an edge or I got an angle, I'll bet it. Bottom line, like if I got to get up at 3:30 in the morning, I'll bet it. Bottom line. So for me, horse racing is the best thing anybody that's gambling can bet on, in my opinion, because first of all, horse race. Let's think about let's take it from a fantasy standpoint. If you do why does everybody love doing fantasy football? Because they love the drafting process. Right. They love to draft. And what do you do in the third or fourth round or fifth round when you draft somebody? You always say, I'm getting this guy at a good spot. I'm drafting him at the right time. I got him in the fourth round or the fifth round. Value. That is so what horse racing is, and nobody even realizes it. They don't even realize that you look at the program and you see the lines and you see what the odds are and you say, wait a minute, I can get this horse right here at this number now. Whether he wins or loses, I'm getting a good number. Excuse me. I'm drafting him. Every race is a fantasy draft. It really is. And so I know the passion you guys probably feel when you're watching a NASCAR race, of trying to chase, it's a race. Like at the end of the day, it's still a race.
That's our horses, Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same thing with the horse race. It's like but it's under 2 minutes. And so it's not that it's a quick way to make a buck kind of deal. It's not that. It's just you handicap the situation. You handicap pace. You handicap speed. You handicap jockeys. You handicap trainers. You handicap it, and that's a lot of what NASCAR is, right? I mean, the trainer is the crew chief, or the jockey is the driver. The horse is the team in which he's representing. What has he done? What's his past? So it's the same thing. And so for me, I've always enjoyed watching animals race. Excuse me, but it's just something that I really enjoy, and the process of trying to find it. And I wish so many people would understand the value in which you have as a gambler. Nobody knows it.
Yeah, I think people get so hung up, and you're talking my language. Like people get so hung up in trying to pick winners and not what are the odds relative to their chances of winning that race. If you bet the number at a good, you're saying placing the bet at a good number is a win no matter what happens. If that outcome happens enough, you're going to come out ahead in the long run.
The reason why horse racing is not a popular sport to young people is because they cannot handle losing. Yep. They are afraid to lose. The reason why the older generation loves horse racing, or when you go to an OTB, an off-track betting site, and you see that most people in there are old. I go to a place called Kentucky Downs all the time. Okay. I'm the youngest I'm 35 years old. I go in there. I'm the youngest person every time I step into that place. And I'm happily the youngest person. I happily accept that. Excuse me. The reason why the older generation follows it is because they can handle losing. They're okay with that. I'm not saying they're not degenerates by any means. Like they can be mature about losing, and the fact that there's another race or there's another angle. Young people can't understand that you don't have to win every race to have a profitable day. You just have to have that nice one. If there's a 10 race program, we may only have to win 2 races today.
And that's just like DFS, Chase, what we preach. I mean, realistically, even the best players in the world are only winning those tournaments a couple times a year if they're lucky, and they're losing most weeks. And I won 3 tournaments last year, Chase. I think you won a tournament last year. This year we have it hit, but that doesn't mean we're not going to rattle off 2 in a row. And then,
I throw a fit. I'm out. I'm done.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that just comes to do with patience too, man. Like that's a lost art nowadays. People are just impatient as shit.
People are younger generations getting into gambling, right? Because gambling is, and if you even look at what these sports books are doing, like let's take DraftKings, for example. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the sports book aspect of it, but they have this cash out button.
Yeah,
I'm so anti-cash out. I'm so anti because number one, you're not getting good odds on that.
The math's always against you. 100%.
You're not getting. Yeah, the math is all. And they're throwing that out there because they're saying, look, you're afraid to lose, dude. Let's admit it. Go ahead and just take a little bit of a loss.
And most of the time, you'd be better off just hedging the bet. Just go bet. Like if you have a future ticket, that's
it's smart on DraftKings part though, because they realize how the generation.
Yeah, it's smart on them. But that's the thing though, Chase, is they're afraid. People are younger generation. Like that's the best advice. Like if I go to the horse track and I go and I place a bunch of bets, I may lose every single race, but I'm not going to be afraid of that. I understand that there's a risk. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I don't want to change the subject, but I'm very anti-parlay.
I love parlays.
Thank you. No, I've been trying to teach him this for 3 years.
Listen, Chase, listen. If you're a parlay guy, listen, I can't stand, I don't do FanDuel, but I can't stand same game parlay. I call that the booger eater bet. Okay. That's for booger eaters.
The margins are so slim and so hard to win in betting.
Listen, I'm not saying, Chase, if you want to do a 2-game parlay,
that's fine.
Fine. If you want to do a 3-game, that's pushing it. But when you get up to 4 and you hit 75% of that bet, yet you lost, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you'd even try to chase after that. So
it's not smart by any means. It's definitely ballsy and stupid.
Let's go to let's go to horse racing. Let me tell you why I think it's a better bet, or why it's better for you. You can take a $48, let's say a $50 bet. You're going to probably parlay it anyways, right? You're going to go and try to parlay 4 or 5 baseball games, football games, basketball games, and you're going to be lucky if you get
number.
You're going to be lucky.
Big old payout.
Yeah, you're trying for that big payout. I can go and do a horse racing bet for, let's say, a pick 4. Okay, let's try to do a pick 4. A pick 4 is a multi-race wager. It's very similar to a parlay. So I need to pick the winner of 4 consecutive races. Okay. But I can pick how many horses I want in that race. The more horses I pick in each of that race, the more my ticket's going to cost. So it's technically a $1 bet, but every time I add a horse, it's going to multiply. Okay. I could get $48 worth in that pick 4. And if I get a couple of long shots, if I could get a long shot in this race, or if I can just get 1 20-to-1 long shot, I can still take the 3 favorites in the other races. As long as that 20-to-1 hit in one of those races, I'm going to get a big payout. That's going to be greater, more than likely, because horse racing is all about pool money. It's all about, for example, if Churchill Downs is running and I see the late pick 4 has got $1 million in the pool, $1 million people betting that, that's a big pool. So if I can get a long shot, right, just one long shot that people more than likely won't have, that pool, majority of that pool can come to me if I can get all 4. You see what I'm saying? So in my opinion, taking that money and putting it in a parlay of a game makes no sense when I can use that same money into a horse bet and probably achieve better success.
See, that's what I'm going to do then. So now instead of pissing my money in the wind, because I've been having a lot of fun just whipping it out and just pissing that money in the wind, especially yesterday. Yesterday was one of the coldest days I've had in MLB in my life, I think.
MLB is a grind.
I love betting baseball, man.
I love betting baseball. I like betting baseball too. It's a grind.
It makes me itch, man. Like I don't know. Like I'll sit there and watch it out. Like I played baseball growing up, so it's like kind of like watching, you have your 3-game series or whatever, and you're sitting there and you're watching it, and you're right there. Cause like, I know they say like, anything can happen in any sport, but it's so different in baseball because it really is like one inning, somebody could rack off 15 runs, dude. Yeah. Like you just don't know. So like, I love that type of sweat. And, obviously NASCAR is the biggest sweat. Any sport
is great when you bet on it. But for me, somebody who's gambled 10 plus years, I can tell you, for me, my favorite is horse racing, and right behind it, NASCAR is right there with it. There's something about a race to me, and I don't know if it goes back to when I was a kid or what, but everybody, when September shows up, everybody says, oh yeah, I'm going to go bet on football this year. I'm going to really pound it. And by the time they get to week 4, their bankroll's cooked. You know what I mean? So, and then they don't bet for the rest of the year.
Not if you're following Chef Bets.
Yeah. Do you know his record from last year?
What was it?
It was like Chase, you know better than me. It was like 160 and 90.
Yeah, it was insane, dude. It was absurd.
But I'm with you. I don't parlay. I'll do 2-team teasers in the NFL. That's my specialty. I hit 2-team teasers at about a 70% clip last year.
So I was actually, and I know I'm kind of going away from it. I was lucky enough. They did a. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the new casino out there called the Circa in Vegas. There's a Circa casino.
Never been to Vegas. That's a shame.
I've heard about it,
but he has.
Circus. So, anyways, they have a $1 million contest, a handicapping contest, and so what they do is they give you these set lines on Thursday night or Thursday morning.
You pick 5,
and you pick 5 of them.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
And so I actually me and a friend of mine from New Jersey decided to go in on the entry, which was $1,000 entry. It was $500 a piece, and so he flew out to Vegas, signed us up. We were actually called. Our team name was called Take a Lap, which was from Joe Judge, who was the coach of the Giants. When at the start of training camp, he was making the players take a lap, if they did something bad. So, and everybody was making fun of him because they thought it was kind of high schoolish. So we just named it Take a Lap, just to be funny. And so, anyways, we were able to finish 35th in the contest this year and collect a nice little check.
What was the payout?
Well, we each scored $3,500 a piece.
Nice.
So we made
about 7 to 1 on your money.
Yeah, we made $7,000, but we obviously split it up into 2.
Right.
And so to finish top 35 in that contest that had thousands of people in it was really good.
Yeah,
and so I'm very much a much better pro sports bettor than I am a college.
Same here.
I just, for some reason, have always done well with pro sports. College sports, like I'm terrible at college basketball.
Too many variables in college. There's too many teams, too many players.
Yeah. There's so much going on. There's, these dudes are kids. They got their girlfriends. They got their Instagram, and they got a lot going on. But pro sports is kind of down, my alley, and so I do really good on pro sports. But I'm just telling you, man. Like I try to tell younger people and to give horse racing a chance. Give NASCAR a chance. Like even people who aren't even NASCAR fans, I tell them, man, bet on one race. Just bet on one.
That's all it takes, and they're hooked. We've converted, I don't know, like 6 or 7 like gamblers to actually becoming fans of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in this year.
I think NASCAR too is a great bang for your buck. If I can tell you again, if I go 50, if let's say I'm going to do a $50 parlay, same principle of horse racing. I would rather take my $50 and bet it on Ryan Blaney at 12 to 1 at so-and-so and let him give me the ride of a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
only out $50. I'm
out 50. Yeah. And so whatever, I just don't, there's no reason to chase after those silly parlays. And we're the generation I'm so worried about, because I was pushing for years for gambling to be legal. I was like, oh man, it needs to be legalized.
It's your time right now.
Well, no, I was but now I'm worried because I'm scared about the generation, because they're being taught the wrong principles of that. You know what I mean? Like they're being taught about parlays, and they're being taught about all bad betting techniques.
Because it's entertaining.
It's entertaining, but I remember one time I had this really wise guy tell me that and this can go same for fantasy sports, if you treat it like a business, it will pay like a business. If you treat it like entertainment, it will pay like entertainment. And I really thought about that for a minute. Like I won't go into, if I go into Best Buy, sponsor shout out. We need a sponsor, Best Buy sponsor shout out. If I go into Best Buy, I'm not just going to just pick out a TV because I want to buy a TV. I'm going to read the reviews. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to figure out, is this TV worth the money that I'm about to pay for it? So why would I go into a casino or a sports book and just throw away money if I haven't really done the work? Does that make any sense?
It makes total sense.
And so many people just go on there and say, I'll take this because it's this. Like, I'll throw this stupid stuff. And it's like, you didn't even do any work. You didn't even.
Well, I can win a ton of money. Yeah. When I first started betting, like you can ask Drew, it's scary times. Cause like I was sitting here just like looking at all the plus odds, like, man, I can put $10 on this and turn this into over $1,000. I was like, let's go.
You're chasing after things that aren't real.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not real. And so
he's come a long way.
Yeah, but no, I 100% agree with you. Like, obviously, you're not gonna find me like throwing like $100 down on a parlay or anything by that matter. But you know, I definitely have done a lot of research, and obviously Drew working, you know, with me has, you know, all I really did was fantasy football, and then I was living in Louisiana, and so I couldn't do DFS. And then I got heavier into that through NASCAR, and then obviously football. And then when I got into betting, which was not that long ago, is when in a short amount of time I have taken on like a lot. I mean, I'm still learning a lot about it, but I get more and more interested. And the more that I'm learning, like every day, it's just like you said, and it's so true. Treating it like a business is how you can get to a point where you don't have to work. Because you can use that, you can bet, and if you're good at what you do, then you're going to be able to get returns off of it. So, you know, there's all kinds of different things that you can, you know, use to get better, but everything that you've hit on this episode, man, it's just the fundamentals of it, man.
Gambling it's so funny because it's got such a negative feeling in this world, right? This negative connotation, like where it's like, oh, you're a degenerate. I joke about that too. Like I'll be the first to tell you, man, I'll make a bet that I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense at all. What am I doing? And so I get that. I understand that. But, you know, for me, gambling is, I find there's something a little bit romantic about it, because if I believe so much in something that I'm willing to put my money, right? Somebody can tell you like, oh, I told you that team was going to win. I told you. Well, I'll say like, how much money do you have on it? Then you really didn't believe. Then what are you talking about to me, right? Why are you having this conversation?
Dude, he sounds just like me, Chase.
You didn't like, hey, did you win? I told you so-and-so was going to win that race. Well, then why didn't you put $50 on it? Why didn't you put 100?
That's a problem in the industry.
I could talk about this for a whole hour. Like,
don't talk to me about like how much you thought somebody was going to do something and you didn't pay them. To me, like if you're willing to put your money down and believe in something, whether it wins or loses, like that to me, there's something special about that. Now, obviously that comes with, you got to understand, you got to have a healthy relationship with it, but anything, you know, alcohol, you know, whatever, like you can consume too much of that and hurt yourself. Right. But you can also consume it and have a good time and not be an idiot. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, if you just understand it in moderation, you know, you don't hurt yourself and just be as smart as you can. I don't recommend those big parlays. But, you know, again, like I think if you do the work, I'll give you an example. Like I watched Bristol Dirt practice last Friday. How awesome was that they actually had practice again?
Incredible.
Like it made gambling on the race or even like so much better. So I'm sitting there watching practice, right? And I already had the opinion of like everybody else, like, oh, Christopher Bell, dirt guy, he's going to be really good. And Kyle Larson, I don't want to bet on him because I don't like the number. But like he's going to be ripping, and I'm thinking Austin Dillon, and then all of a sudden I'm watching practice.
Changed everything.
And I'm watching. I'm saying, man, Truex is flying. Like my buddies at LockDown took me to this. It was called timing71.org, and it would give you these lap times during practice. And I'm sitting there staring at these lap times, right? And I'm saying, man, Truex is hauling, and nobody knows it. Like he's going so fast right now, and I don't know how many people know it. And they had taken the odds down off of DraftKings, right? Because they're doing practice. And I am thirsting for the odds to come back up. I'm literally like salivating, like, please give me, because I originally saw Truex at 30-1. And I was like, please give me Truex somewhere close to that. And so they put the odds back up and he's 25-1. And I'm literally like, Jesus has come to me, you know, like this is the greatest moment in my life. I'm betting Truex at 25.
That's why we do what we do.
So I put in the work, right? And so I bet him, and I'm like, this is so then the race goes on and he's just ripping. He goes straight to the lead. And I'm literally like, I'm not counting my money, but I'm saying like they got nothing for this guy right now. And nobody saw Truex. Nobody. I mean, he had no dirt experience.
No dirt.
And then all of a sudden, like he starts dying. And like, I'm like, why is Daniel Suarez better than him? And I'm like, all of a sudden Joey gets in front. And then right when Joey gets in front, they say, we're going single file, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh great. Thanks.
They had to improvise.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Like, did I lose on the Truex bet? Yes. I lost.
But you won too because you got those odds.
I got him at a fantastic number based on his performance.
Well, see, that was like us, man. Like me and Dale were on Hamlin. Mm-hmm. And I was watching him because he was consistent. He was staying up there. Like every race.
What was your number you got on him? Do you
21. Remember? I got him at 2,100.
Great number.
Yeah. And then, but I feel like a jackass because in my premium picks, I saw Joey. And I was like, Joey's looking pretty damn good. Like, he's another one that's just good all the time. He's consistent. He's a damn good driver. And it's like, I picked Hamlin. It's like, why didn't I think to grab Joey too? Yeah. But I had him in my DFS lineup. So I know that they did like the driver ratings and stuff like that, or the DFS rankings or whatever. I know that Garage Guys was number 1 for the dirt race, which was epic out of all the industry. So that was huge. Yeah. But I think the practice is everything, because the tournaments that he was able to bag last year were all the double headers. When you had those double header races, we had data on that race, and we could go into the next race knowing a little bit about what to expect. And that's how you just bomb.
That's what's really rough about, like, I don't know how many people this goes to the horse racing a little bit, but like, you can watch last year's race, and that's honestly like looking at a program, horse racing program, and looking at past performances, the PPs, and saying, okay, what did he do? What did he do? But the true thing about horse racing and even NASCAR is, like, I understand he did this a year ago. I understand he did this a few weeks ago. What is he going to do today?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he did it last year. And so that's the thing, is like, that's what's made the non-practice gambling or fantasy. That's what's made it so hard. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to go into it and understand that and have that data and without it. And to me, when they were able to practice at Bristol, and then I was able to get a good bet, like, Truex, did I lose? Yeah. But I'm not afraid to lose, because I know at the end of the day, I got a great number. I got a good pick. The ball didn't bounce my way.
And you're going to get back up tomorrow, and you're going to get right back at it.
We'll go at it next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll figure it out. Like, it's fine. It's not one of the things where it's like, oh, I'm going to lose my mind because I don't need to go and run and try to chase somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll take my loss. We handicapped. We did good. I actually picked 4 drivers for Bristol Dirt. I took Christopher Bell because I thought he was a good number. I actually thought he was going to be better on dirt than Kyle Larson. I thought Larson was coming in with way too much hype. I took Kyle Busch because, truthfully, I think Kyle Busch is the Bristol GOAT. I think, I don't care Darrell Waltrip. I don't care.
Fucking dude, man.
I don't care. He's just that dude. And sure enough, like, he was, I got him, I believe, at 20-1. And he actually just had some misfortune happen to him. I mean, he was in the lead, and all of a sudden his grill's covered up with mud. Like, you can't handicap that. You know what I mean? And
he was going to dominate that whole first portion of the race, I think.
Oh, I think he was going to.
I think he won that race.
I think he was going to smack him. I really did. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Truex was going to get him too. But I had Kyle Busch, so we had some misfortune. So I had C-Bell, I had Kyle Busch. I picked Tyler Reddick because I thought,
not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick. Another good number. I got him in like somewhere like 25-1, high price. And then
he was one of the ones that they were so like just wrong about. Like,
but he still, like, he finished like 7th or 8th or something like that. So
great.
He ran like a true 25-1, like a true. So I got a little bang for my buck there. Truex obviously didn't get the finish they probably deserved, but got bang for my buck there. I got kind of screwed on Busch, and maybe if you want to say C-Bell's a bad bet, that's fair. Like, he wrecked, whatever. So
he got caught up.
He got caught up. So I feel like I usually don't go 4 deep. I usually try to keep it 2 to 3 guys. I'll go 4 deep at Daytona and Talladega just because that's what you can get numbers.
That's the scratcher, baby.
That's the scratch. And so you can get good numbers, but yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to go to Talladega in a couple weeks, and
we're still debating it. I don't know where we're at.
I can't miss Talladega. I can't
either. It's hard to, man.
It's hard. It's hard to miss Talladega. I love Talladega so much. But like, I've already even started thinking about like who I'm going to take there. And so this week I've been thinking about Martinsville. And so all you can do is your best. And I think the best advice I can give is just don't be afraid to lose. Like, it's okay. You can always make more money in other places, and just wait for your opportunity and try to capitalize on it. And don't chase. The sun's going to come up tomorrow.
For sure.
Hell yeah. That's it. This has been an amazing episode. I hope everybody that is watching this or is listening to this has taken away a lot of stuff from Copizzle here, because if you have been following our content and maybe you're just like, I don't want to say that I don't know anything about gambling. Well, now you do. Now you know something. So you use this as a tool. We're just going to put this episode up on the site somewhere. Just be like under gambling education. We're just going to stick it right there. Yeah, it'll be good stuff. But, dude, it was a pleasure coming on, man. And you guys are in Nashville. You two need to link up one of these days, man. Sure. Y'all are both in Nashville, so y'all got to make it happen.
We come from the same background, I can tell. Except mine was poker. Like growing up as a kid, I played poker and won a lot of money. So that's where my DFS and betting stuff translates from, is Texas Hold'em.
That's it. Where can everybody follow you at, man?
You just come. You can find me on Twitter, Copizzle, Copizzle. Find me there. You know, I talk a lot of gambling on there. Just I usually, just throw out little freebies every now and then. I try to always put my race, who I think is going to win the race, every NASCAR race, just to try to help get people involved in the sport.
Do you have anything on the Masters real quick before we let you go?
Yeah. I actually hit on Dustin Johnson last year. Actually November. I got lucky, but I've bet him a handful of times. It's so hard because I really I haven't really finished on who I might take. So but no, I don't. I've been kind of going back and forth. I think, maybe Jordan Spieth possibly could finally finally rise again. He kind of, it got to a point where it seemed like he was going to win 10 Masters. It seems like, and he's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I feel like he's going to come back.
Can you drop it in Discord for the listeners?
Yeah.
Before Thursday, will you drop in a few golf picks?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I make an official win bet on somebody, I will definitely pop it in there. But golf is another one.
Monster.
It's a monster. It's hard to hit those. It really is.
Yeah. And you can everybody that is in our Discord knows they can hit us up anytime, and we're always in there. And you're involved as well. So if you want to talk to Copizzle, you want to talk to us, just get over to the Discord, Garage Guys Fantasy Sports Discord. If you want a link to it, hit us up right here in the comments on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, just hit us up online. You can find me on Twitter at Garage Guy Chase. Find Drew at Chef Boyardeen. That's ChefBoyardeen. But dude, yeah, it was an amazing. We're going to talk more about this. I'm going to go over to the Discord. We'll talk more about this stuff, and we'll have a good one. But it's been a great episode, and let's get ready for Martinsville. Let's go get some bags, man.
Let's do it, baby.
Yeah. I want to say thank you guys for supporting me once again on iRacing. It's awesome to race the Garage Guys truck. I try to run as good as I can. It's tough, but yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to know you guys, and it's awesome to see you guys, doing your thing and building up a nice NASCAR platform. There's so many football ones and all this and that. And it's good to see a NASCAR one. So
hell yeah, we got to back the sport that's on the rise, man. It's on the way back.
We got to do it for Dale, right?
We do it for Dale, baby. My son was in the go-kart the other day, and he said he sees the number 3 now, and he'll say, "Hey, Dad, 3 for Dale."
Yeah,
that's what he'll tell me. So I love that, man. So we got him right back here. So you know how it goes. But yeah, guys, don't miss that as well. Thursday night, it's going to be on Garage Guys Twitch. That's twitch.com/Garage Guys, and you'll be able to watch Copizzle get on the track. Richmond, make it happen. It's Richmond, not Martinsville. All right, we're skipping hot dog season. We're going straight to Richmond. All right, so that's been it. It's been a great garage talk, man. We'll catch you later.